For the longest time, an ongoing joke with the channel was my reluctancy to award a 5-star rating to a game, but this all changed when I played the awesome indie SHMUP title Project Starship X back in 2021. The developer of that game, Panda Indie Studio, has just released Excessive Trim, a psychedelic dodge 'em up which has you playing as a spliff-talking alien piloting a bladed flying saucer through crop fields, mowing down anything that gets in its way. But the question is, did it live up to my high expectations, and is it worth your time and cash? Well, drop a like, subscribe for more Switch content, and let's find out. Now, there's no story whatsoever in this one, and it's your traditional arcade high score chasing affair, with your only real objective being to survive for as long as possible and earn as many points as possible, which, to be honest, is a bit of a shame really, as given that as you're playing as a weed smoking alien, it would have been nice to have had some context to this one. That being said though, as you can see from the main menu of the game, gameplay takes place within a cropped central box and there's no option to full screen it, which you'll soon see has somewhat of a detrimental effect on gameplay in my opinion, as it restricts both your viewpoint and the play area. Other than the sound and music settings, the only other options you have available to you are for the visuals, and this lets you switch between a bunch of different colour schemes prior to starting the game, and though these have no direct impact on gameplay, some of them are real eyeball peelers and can make it much more difficult to identify some of the smaller enemies, so I recommend switching between different colour schemes until you find one that you like. Now, getting into gameplay, the controls and mechanics are as simple as they come, and the gameplay is somewhat similar to a traditional vertical scrolling shmup without any shooting of course. You move your little bladed spacecraft with either the left thumbstick or the D-pad, and can perform a dash manoeuvre by hitting the A button or the trigger, which acts as both your dodge and your attack ability, and that's about it. You can dash in your direction of travel, or if not holding a direction, will dash directly forwards, and your dash has a couple of second cooldown before it can be used again, but occasionally you'll also encounter portals that can allow you to chain dashes together. Like I said though, the objective in this one is pretty straightforward. Survive and kill enemies by dashing into them, gather up as many leaves as possible to rack up that high score, and avoid colliding with enemies in the terrain and losing all your lives. The enemies themselves are often designed to obstruct you rather than attack you directly, and most of them can be destroyed with a single well-timed dash, but there are a couple of them which do chase you down, and terrain features like trees or barns need to be avoided entirely. Overall, it's a simple but solid premise which invites repeated playthroughs thanks to the randomly generated level layouts, and the shops at the end of levels also offer some additional variety, providing perks for the run such as faster cooldowns of dashes, larger more powerful blades, or the ability to set the ground on fire. It's fun, addictive and challenging, but I'm not gonna lie, the game is dearly missing the competitive element of an online high score leaderboard, and it's also not without its issues. Now, to start with, I mentioned that letterbox style play area which limits your view and restricts your movement, and the game is pretty fast paced and hectic, so you really need to be conscious of your every movement. The problem is that enemies come thick and fast, and due to the restricted play area are often positioned close together, so no sooner have you dodged through one set of them, you're then having to deal with the next one. This in itself isn't necessarily the core issue here though, as it does promote skillful gameplay and really puts your reflexes to the test. However, there are also issues with the dash manoeuvre which come into play as well, because it forces you to dash forwards a set distance, and you're constantly having to pull back down the screen to avoid colliding with the next set of enemies, which often leads to you colliding with the ones that you just dashed through. The cooldown of the dash is also pretty frustrating because its refresh rate is indicated by a ring around your character, which is not only hard to make out due to the fast paced nature of the gameplay and the way in which it flashes, but also due to the fact that the colour of it is the same colour as the blood in the game, and this can further obscure your view of it, especially if you have the upgraded blade size. My final and perhaps biggest criticism with the game is in its hit detection, because on several occasions I would blade dash directly over an enemy but wouldn't actually kill them, and I initially assumed that because you can get a damage upgrade in the game, these enemies must be able to take an extra hit or something. But the same enemy on other levels died in a single hit without any upgrades, so either the hitboxes are screwed at times, or there's some hidden damage mechanics in the game which just aren't being properly explained to you. To be honest though, nothing is properly explained in this one. You don't get any kind of tutorial and you're left to just work things out for yourself. But its simplicity makes it easy enough to understand and allows you to just pick up and play without any kind of direction. Despite my frustrations though, I could definitely see this one serving well as a solid little time filler game to fill those train rides or tea breaks with. While most of my runs only last a few minutes, once you get into it and become more familiar with its mechanics, I could see you being able to push some pretty strong high scores. And while it lacks the depth to be anything more, and the visual aesthetics might be just a little too much for some people, all in all it's not a bad little high score chaser for the price. 3 out of 5 stars is what I'm giving it, so not quite Project Starship X level of good, but not too shabby either. Let me know if you're going to be picking this one up down in the comments section below though, and if you've already played it, let me know what you thought of it. For now though, drop a like if this review helped you out, subscribe for more Nintendo Switch content, and until next time, take care of yourselves and game on.